Okay, the lesson is on evaluating functions. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the function that we have, y equals x plus 7. And we're going to substitute in the values that you see here in the chart. So the first one we're going to substitute in is a -2. So basically this has already been written for you in the chart. So when you substitute in -2, you're going to have -2 plus 7. You're going to write that in the middle of your chart. That's kind of like your work. And -2 plus 7 would be what? 5. So you put a 5 over here for the y. So when you input -2, you get an output of 5. Okay? These are your inputs. These are your outputs. Probably be a good idea to write that in your notes. Okay? When we input -1, we're going to write -1 plus 7. Out is going to come a 6. Good. When we input 0, 0 plus 7, out is going to come 7. When we input 1, 1 plus 7 is 8. When we input 2, 2 plus 7 is 9. Okay? Now, you can take all of these inputs and outputs, and they could be written as an ordered pair. -2, 5. -1, 6. 0, 7. 1, 8. 2, 9. And you could then plot those points on a graph and connect them, and that graph would be the graph of y equals x plus 7. And these values here, these inputs, you can plug any number in for x. Those are just the ones I provided you with. Any number can be put in. Okay? All right. Number 2, we're going to do the same thing. Okay? We're going to put in these inputs. All right? So follow along carefully, though. Notice this is 3 times x and then plus 1. So 3 times -2 is -6, and then plus 1 would be -5. You should be able to do that in your head. Okay. Next, 3 times -1 is -3 plus 1 is -2. Right? 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And now we have our inputs and outputs. Okay, let's do number 3. Okay, now notice this T chart, this is what it looks like a T, so I'm calling it a T chart.
This is really small.
Yes, it is really small on your paper, so I would just suggest you make a larger one on your paper. Sorry, something happened in transition. And we're just going to do our work out here to the side, and then we're going to put our answer in the chart instead of having our work in the chart. So we've got, remember these x values are our input, so we're going to plug in -2 first. So we're going to have 2/3 times -2, which I would put -2 over 1, minus 4. Okay, so let's simplify that. 2 times -2 in the numerator would be -4 over 3, and then we have a -4 still. Okay, well, -4 over 3 as a mixed number would be -1 and 1/3 minus 4. What would that be? Negative and a negative, so you add them together. So it's going to be a -5 and a third. So come put that over here in your T chart. Okay? All right, I'm going to erase that so I have some room. Okay, plugging in -1 now. 2/3 times -1 over 1 minus 4. Well, anything times -1 is just going to be the negative of that number, right? So we have -2/3 minus 4, or 4 over 1. All right? Now, remember that you can, when you've got a negative and then a minus, you can add the opposite. And then they have different denominators. So remember our little fraction dance where we did -2 times 1 is -2 plus 3 times -4 is -12. And then the bottom 3 times 1 is 3. So on the top, a -2 plus a -12 is a -14 over 3. Turn that back into a mixed number for me. How many 3's going to 14? 4. 4, and it's negative, by the way. -4 and 2/3. There you go. Good. Okay, when you plug in 0 right here, that's going to make all of this go to 0, isn't it? And you're going to be left with -4, which would be -4. Right? Okay. All right, let's plug in our 1. A little more work, huh, when you have a fraction. Okay? So 2/3 times 1, or 1 over 1, -4. Well, 2/3 times 1 is just 2/3, right? -4, or 4 over 1, we can change, well, you can change it to plus negative, or you can just leave it as a minus since we don't have any other negatives. And let's do our little fraction dance. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 3 times 4 is 12, all over 3 times 1 is 3. Well, 2 minus 12 is -10 over 3. Turn it back into a mixed number. 3 goes into 10 3 times, but it's negative, right? -3 and 1/3. Okay? Now we just have to do the 2. What'd you say?
I said I bet you it's -2 and 2/3.
You think it's -2 and 2/3? Do you see a pattern happening?
Yeah.
It's going up by how much? Looks like it's going
down. No, it's going up by 2/3.
going up by 2/3, right? Because this third and then a third there to get to 2/3, and then up 2/3 to -4, and then up 2/3 to -3 1/3. So then up 2/3 more would be -2 and, you think 2/3? Let's check it out here. So 2/3 times 2 over 1 minus 4. This is going to become 2 times 2 is 4. Do you have your computer charger? Yeah, welcome to my live video that you just say, hi, this is Miss Linder. I'm doing a screen recording, but it's totally fine. You can do the throw it and I'm going to get rid of it. No, I don't care. It's just for kids that are absent. That was Miss Linder, everybody. Okay, so 4 over 3 minus 4. All right, and then, yeah, do the little boom boom dance. So 4 times 1 is 4 minus 12 over 3. 4 minus 12 is
-8.
-8 over 3. Is that -2 and 2/3?
Yep.
It sure enough is. Very good. Very good. Awesome. Okay, number 4. Now we're no fractions, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Okay, -5 plus 4 times what? -2, right? That's the first number you're going to plug in, correct? All right, so this is going to be -5 what? 4 times -2 is -8. So plus -8, which would be -13. Good. Okay, next one. -5 plus 4 times what? -1, the next number in the chart. So that's going to be -5 plus -4, which is -9. -5 plus 4 times 0 is going to be -5 plus 0, which is just -5. -5 plus 4 times 1 is going to be -5 plus 4, which is -1. You want to take a guess at what the next one's going to be?
3.
Looks like it's going up by 4, right? So you're thinking this, so let's check it. -5 plus 4 times 2 is -5 plus 8, which is 3. Awesome. Okay, these are linear functions. If it's a linear function, meaning it's a line, then it's going to have, it is going to have a pattern, but what you have to look for is, if there's a pattern here in the x's, then there will be a pattern in the y values. So notice they're going up by 1. That doesn't mean the other side's going to go up by 1. It just means there will be a pattern over here. And once you start to see it, you see it's going up by 4, right? Okay, so that's kind of helpful. Okay? All right, number 5. If f of x equals 5x plus 6, then find each. All right, all this is function notation. F of x is, in all purposes, just like having y equals 5x plus 6. Okay, you're not going to do anything different here. All it's saying is we're going to plug in -3 here. So the way you would technically write it is f of -3 that says, hey, I'm going to plug in -3 for x is 5 times -3 plus 6. Show your steps. 5 times -3 is -15 plus 6 would be what? -9. So you could come under here and write f of -3 equals -9. You're doing exactly what you were doing with the t-charts. It's not any different. Okay? All right, let's find f of 0. So f of 0 equals 5 times what? 0 plus 6. Well, 5 times 0 is 0 plus 6, which is 6. So you can come over here and write f of 0 equals 6. Okay? F of b is equal to 5 times b plus 6. Well, 5 times b, how do you write 5 times b? 5b plus 6. So that is just f of b is equal to 5b plus 6. Yeah, there's nothing to do there. Okay?
So it's just like the sequences. You just plug it into the
Right. The first part, this just says, hey, this is what I'm plugging in. Exactly. Any questions so far? I haven't really turned around much to check on you, but you seem fine. I hear you. Okay, number 6. All right, f of 1. So we're going to put a 1 everywhere that we see an x. Okay, so f of 1 equals 3, and then in parentheses, I'm going to put my 1 with my squared outside, plus 2 times 1 minus 5. Okay, so 1 squared is 1, times 3 is 3, plus 2 times 1 is 2, and then minus 5. Okay, well, what's 3 plus 2? 3 plus 2 is 5, minus 5 is 0. Good. Okay, next one, f of 0. 3 times 0 squared. Put your number that you're substituting in parentheses. Okay? Plus 2 times 0 minus 5. Okay, well, 0 squared is 0 times 3 is 0 plus 0 minus 5. What's that going to be? -5. Good. Okay, let's plug in -2. So, oops, equals 3 times -2 squared plus 2 times -2 minus 5. What's a -2 squared? A -2 times a -2. Positive 4 times 3 is 12. Okay? Plus 2 times -2. -4, and then minus 5. 12 plus a -4 is 8. Minus 5 is 3. There you go. Okay? All right. Multiple choice here. F of 6 equals 7x minus x. What would f of 6 equal? You need to figure out what that would be and then choose. So you're plugging your 6 in. What's 7 times 6? 42. Minus 6 is 36. Good. That's all you were doing. Okay? All right. Next. Ooh, this one looks fun. So what are we plugging in for x? X plus 1. All right, so 2, and then in place of x, we're putting x plus 1, and then we have the plus 3 out to the side. Well, you ought to know, what is this right here? Distributive property. 2 times x, 2x, 2 times 1, plus 2, and then you have the plus 3. So which one would that be? A, 2x plus 5. Very good. Very good. Evaluate the function for f of x equals 3x plus 1 when f of x equals 22. Okay, so, okay, if f of x is 22, so what do we do here? Where do I put the 22? Not in for x. It doesn't say over here, right? Because it's saying f of x is 22. This is 22. Not what is f of 22. If the 22 was in place of the x, we would put it in for x, but it's not. So we need to do 22 equals what? 3x plus 1 and solve it. So what do we do first? Minus 1. My pen is starting to mess up. So 21 equals
3x. Then
divide by 3.
You get 7.
Good. Okay. Last one. If g of x is 186, so 186 equals x squared minus 10. What would you do first? G of x is the same as f of x. Just if you're talking about the function g, the function f, the function m, the function, it doesn't matter. Okay? So add 10. So you get 196 equals x squared. Okay, so we need to figure out what x is, not what x squared is. What does x squared mean? It means x times x, exactly. So, thoughts? Kennedy?
14.
You think x is 14? 14 times 14 is 196? Okay then, x is 14, exactly. You're trying to find the number times itself that's 196. She just happens to know that 14 times 14 is 196. Okay? Now, if we were going to be specific, the way that we undo subtraction is with addition, the way that we undo multiplication is with division. The way we undo a square is with a square root. So then you just end up with x, and the square root of 196 is 14. Oh, that's pretty cool, huh? Okay, and that is the end of the lesson. Let's pause this somehow. How do I quit it?
You have to select quick time and then just like hit with video.
Where did
And
maybe it wasn't recording. No, I know it's recording because I hit start. What is this? 3-3, evaluate functions.